You probably know Professor Niels Bohr, who won Nobel Prize for his contribution in quantum mechanics. Someone once visited Professor Niels Bohr's country cottage. So he saw that there is a horseshoe hung above the entrance. He asked Professor Bohr that whether he believes in such ancient superstition that horseshoes bring good luck. Bohr immediately replied, "No, not at all. I don't believe in all that. But I was told that it works even when you don't believe." So this is another way of saying that I am a physicist. I am P.K. Mohanty, a professor in physics at Indian Institute of Science, Education and Research, Kolkata. Welcome you to my channel Atah. I request you to subscribe to this channel. Any financial help from YouTube through your subscription will be utilized for science development in some rural schools. Today, actually, I'm going to talk how our expectations and beliefs can change the way we perceive things. Okay. So, if you sincerely believe that tomorrow will be a pleasant day, most likely it will be pleasant for you. That's what I'm going to talk today. You might have already experienced it in your everyday life. But how much can you push this proposition? Can your belief make oranges pink or moon to fall down from sky? No. Belief is a construct of your mind, and it can change the way you perceive or experience. There is scientific evidence which says that belief not only has psychological effects, it can have physical effects. It does change the way your brain functions, and it can produce desired chemicals required for a particular kind of experience. So that's what I'm going to talk today. One of the early experiments that exhibits physical changes related to expectations or belief is the Pavlovs dog experiment, which was conducted in 1890s. This experiment is basically the follows: ringing a bell while feeding a dog. So every time you feed a dog, you ring a bell along with it. So if you do it repeatedly for many days, the dog feels as if meat is coming whenever there is a bell. Right? Even if you are not bringing meat or food, the dog, whenever you ring a bell, the dog feels that the meat is coming from you. So he experimented it by measuring the saliva secreted from the dog's mouth. The dog is now conditioned to produce saliva in response to the bell, okay, even when the meat is not there. This particular effect is called Pavlov's dog, and this becomes a classical theory of conditioning in modern behavioral psychology. So this is what is being taught now in textbooks, and in current days, this principle is applied in treating many different psychological problems like phobias, anxiety, and panic disorders, and which are originated from this effect. So you can experiment yourself about Pavlov's dog. So, for example, when you are studying with your friend or your sister or your brother, then what you can do is that you can throw a paper ball to your friend or brother, and whenever you throw, you make a sound. Okay? And you do it repeatedly. So throw a ball, make a sound. You can make the sound through a mobile, like the video which I show you now. After some time, your friend will get irritated as soon as you ring a bell or make this sound, even if you are not throwing anything. Or you can do another experiment like Dr. Ali Mattu, a clinical psychologist at Columbia University, did. Okay? he just pick random set of words to a volunteer and spray water on her face every time he spoke a particular word, can. Like
take,
like the
call, brick,
like the beer can.
care,
So
can,
whenever he utter the word
chair,
can, he just spray
camp.
Spray water into her face. So spraying water creates a natural response, flinching, right? You know, flinch your eye if somebody sprays water onto your face. So this is just a normal response. But after some time, if you repeat this, whenever the word comes can, you just spray it. Then after some time, the subject or the volunteer
Class,
actually
mind, mark, work,
flinch
can,
when
dish,
when you just
bus,
use this word
dish,
can.
phone,
Whenever you say can she flinches.
smart,
Okay, so
first,
this is just
can,
the reflex action with respect to the word. So the actual flinching which is now conditioned by this sound called can. A similar experiment is done by Professor John Margelouf in Department of Wild Science, Washington University. He was studying crows.
Really, to me, the most surprising thing about crows so far has been their ability to recognize and remember particular people, and even just particular faces.
So the crows in a park were banded by some lab members. Okay, so the bending of crows are necessary to study them. So they put some kind of ring to their feet. So while catching the crows, all the lab members were wearing a particular kind of mask. Okay, so this bending was over, and after a year or so,
should have birds scolding us even by this point. And when we put our masks on, I think you'll see a dramatically different response to the birds than certainly we're seeing right now.
So here the mask actually induces an expectation of frightening experience, okay? And the crows react to that. So if you do it repetitively, actually, right, this mask, whenever the crow sees a mask now, they actually respond as if some frightening thing is going to happen to them. There is a very startling social experiment which is done by Darren Brown, a famous British mentalist and magician. He could convince a guy named Jody in a social experiment that he had done something unthinkable, a murder, although the murder has never taken place. So Jody to a hotel, he was just surrounded by actors, and the actors actually tried to convince him on guilt.
The first one is to create some triggers that I can fire to make him feel guilty whenever I want him to. So the way we're going to do that is to create some situations where he will feel guilty, and then whenever he's at the peak of that guilt, the actors are going to squeeze him on the shoulder, or I'm going to fire a sound of a bell off through the hotel, which I can do by pressing the button on here.
His face changed and he walked off, didn't he?
It did.
Oh,
it really did. I know you might use that sort of language at home.
But it might have been.
I thought he was
you were feeling bad.
terrible. And what will happen is he'll begin to associate the feeling of guilt with the squeeze on the shoulder and with the bell sound. And then I'll be able to fire those off to make him feel guilty.
With this psychological manipulation, Darren Brown could convince Jody that he has committed a crime.
I think I killed him.
Okay, all right.
And the murder was never taken place in the hotel. His example, the hotel bell induces an expectation of guilt. Okay, the person feels the guilt irrespective of whether he is responsible for the act or not. Okay. And one of the very surprising experiment is also done by Professor Dan Early from Duke University, who did the following. He asks people to taste two types of beers: A normal beer, and B, the beer mixed with a small amount of vinegar. And he asked group of people to rate which beer they like. First group, he said there are two different brands. He did not disclose that one is only just vinegar mixed beer. To the second group, he told the truth. A is normal beer and B is same but vinegar mixed. Surprisingly, the first group liked vinegar mixed beer. Actually, they rate vinegar mixed beer much better. Okay, whereas the second group who hate the vinegar mixed beer. Okay, so this clearly says that when you know that the beer is mixed with vinegar, you are expecting as if some horrible taste is going to come to you, and when you taste it, actually you feel that the taste is horrible. So to go further, he also took a third group, okay, to whom he initially said that these two beers are two different brands, and then he asked them to taste the beer, and after they taste it, he told one is just vinegar mixed. It's normal beer, vinegar mixed. So this group now rate the vinegar mixed beer better. So which means that, right, when you know a priori that you are going to drink vinegar mixed beer, the experience is bad. But if you do not know a priori that you are going, that these are normal beers, so the true sense or true taste comes to you and once you get that sense, later on saying that it is vinegar mixed doesn't change your experience. So it tells experience is the primary and fundamental ingredient of perception. Okay, so once you experience, your personal views or your judgment, further judgment doesn't matter. Although your prior knowledge hints that vinegar mixed beer is horrible, you value your experience much better. So we must remember from this experiment that learning from experience is the primary and fundamental learning. Okay, as a side remark, a good question to ask that how much of our formal education enforces experiential learning versus learning by just conformity. Okay, maybe I will make another video on this subject later. Dan Early is a professor of behavioral economics. So he did a lot of such experiments on consumer products. Okay? He took sunglasses and asked people to read text under bright light. To one group, he said the glasses are cheap and locally made. It's the same glass, but he said different things to different group of people. And to the other group, he said that they are very costly and made by a good brand. So it turns out that people who wear costly glasses, at least believe that they are wearing costly glasses, could read better in bright light. He also did the similar experiment with headphones and asked them to hear from a tape recorder and write what they listen to. They receive money for how correctly they reproduce the sound. Okay. Even then, the group who thought that the earphone is local made and cheap earned very little because in their experience the bad headphone actually gives you a bad sound. So the expectations that you may not hear properly gives you an experience that matches with your expectations. So if you anticipate that good thing will happen in the world, there is a good chance that it is going to happen. Okay. So these anticipation effect gives us a sense of understanding on how our mind and body interact with each other. Okay. The way our mind anticipates can change our psychology and alter our experiences. So it will also, not only that it will change our experience, it may also change how we feel or what is happening around us. Okay. So the anticipation, if the anticipation is good, it is very likely that the things which are coming to us will be good. So the way we think can change the way we experience the world around us. Well, you may ask, what's the point of perceiving something which may not be real? Right? I mean, when the drain near you is dirty and stinky, what's the point in perceiving it as nice and pleasant? It would be only a lie and denial, no? Take this example. Okay? So you may have bought a house thinking that a nice balcony will give you a pleasant view and a fresh breeze and refresh your mind. But after 2 years, when you are living in that house, how many of you actually get refreshed by standing on the balcony? The beauty, the fresh breeze, and the sunset. All these are there, stand there as a reality, if you call that as a reality. But your experience is being blocked by the thinking you have on that particular day or that moment. As I have described in the previous videos, none of us know the true nature of reality. If you have not watched these videos which I have done earlier, please watch them. Links are given in the description. So our perception through our senses is only a window to the experiences we have. Okay? The reality, right? Maybe there is one, it stands far away, but it is always blocked. It is blocked by your thought, by your expectations. Your mind is not fresh and you are upset, and so basically you are not able to see them. So the only window is our senses, and there is no reality check that what is reality. Okay, as there is nothing absolute to compare with. So what you think or what you anticipate matters a lot. We are constantly being fed by suggestions, fed by advertising agencies, news and entertainment media, education system, political or religious organizations. They all give you suggestions, and all these views constantly suggest us what to anticipate and what not to anticipate, and thereby modulate our life experience. So the point is, think positive and anticipate pleasant. You will surely experience that next day. Thank you.